The crystalline halls of the celestial palace shimmered with an otherworldly glow. As Emily adjusted her diplomatic badge for the third time that morning, she had been assigned to the intergalactic embassy for only 6 months, but already she felt like she'd lived several lifetimes. Nothing in her training at the academy had prepared her for the reality of serving as a human liaison to the Zephyrian Empire. Erling stood at his post near the throne room entrance, his imposing 7-foot frame casting long shadows across the iridescent floor. As the Queen's personal bodyguard, he was a figure of both fear and fascination among the embassy staff. His scaled skin caught the light like polished obsidian, and his forearms remained in perpetual readiness to resting on the plasma weapons at his sides. To crossed over his broad chest. Emily had been warned about him during her first week. Don't try to make small talk with Erling, her supervisor had cautioned. The Zephyrian warriors don't understand human humor, and they certainly don't appreciate it. But Emily had never been good at following warnings. "Morning, Erling," she said brightly as she approached with a stack of treaty documents that needed the Queen's seal. "Beautiful day to stand motionless for 12 hours, isn't it?" One of Erling's eyes swiveled to regard her, the vertical pupil dilating slightly. He said nothing. As usual, this had become their routine over the past months. Emily would make an observation, crack a joke, or offer some piece of human wisdom. Erling would remain silent, statuesque, utterly professional. And yet, Emily had begun to notice small things, the way his stance relaxed infinitesimally when she approached. How one of his hands would uncurl from his weapon when she spoke. Today, though, something was different. The Queen was hosting a delegation from the Andromeda cluster, and tensions were high. Emily had spent the morning translating complex territorial agreements, her brain aching from switching between 3 different linguistic frameworks. She was exhausted, caffeinated beyond reason, and perhaps not thinking as clearly as she should have been. As she waited for the Queen to finish her current audience, Emily leaned against the wall near Erling's post, letting out a long sigh. A delegation member had just stormed out of the throne room, their tentacles flailing in agitation. "Another successful negotiation," Emily muttered. She glanced up at Erling, who stood as immovable as ever. "You know, I've been thinking, you must be the most patient being in the entire galaxy. Standing here, day after day, watching diplomats have meltdowns, preventing assassination attempts, never complaining, never flinching. You're amazing." She said it jokingly, with a tired smile, not expecting any response beyond the usual stoic silence. But then something extraordinary happened. Erling's mandibles parted, and a sound emerged that Emily had never heard from him before, a low, rumbling vibration that she slowly recognized as laughter. It was deeper than human laughter, more resonant, like distant thunder rolling across mountains. "You think standing is the hard part?" Erling said, his voice like gravel shifting in a drum. Emily nearly dropped her documents. In 6 months, she had never heard him speak a single word. She stared up at him, mouth slightly open. You talk." "Of course I talk," Erling replied, all 4 of his eyes now focused on her with what might have been amusement. "I simply choose not to waste words on those who see me as decorative stonework. I mean, I never thought. You are the first human who has treated me as a person rather than a fixture." Erling continued. "Every morning, you greet me. You share your observations about the weather, the political climate, the questionable coffee in the embassy cafeteria. You have never once looked through me." Emily felt heat rising to her cheeks. "I just thought. Everyone deserves to be acknowledged." "Precisely." Erling shifted his weight, and for the first time since she'd known him, he turned to face her fully. "You want to know what I think is amazing, Emily Sorensen of Earth? That in a palace full of beings from 1,000 worlds, each one more advanced than yours in technology and longevity, you are the only one who understands the most basic principle of civilization, which is that dignity is not earned by rank or species. It simply is." Emily felt something catch in her throat. Before she could respond, the throne room doors opened, and the Queen's chamberlain beckoned her inside. "I have to." Emily gestured toward the entrance. "I know," Erling said. He returned to his formal stance, but now there was something different in his bearing. "Emily Sorensen?" She turned back. "Tomorrow morning when you comment on the weather, I will respond." I think we have wasted enough silence." Emily broke into a genuine smile. "I'd like that very much." As she walked into the throne room, clutching her documents, Emily realized that she had just learned something crucial about diplomacy that no academy could teach. The greatest barriers between beings were not always language or biology or culture. Sometimes they were simply the assumptions that kept people from seeing each other clearly. That evening, as Emily filed her reports, she added a personal note in her journal. "Today I learned that the Queen's bodyguard has a name, a voice, and a sense of humor. Tomorrow, I plan to learn what he thinks about the terrible coffee." Small victories in understanding might just be the foundation of lasting peace. Outside her window, the 3 moons of Zephyria rose in sequence, and in the palace below, a guard stood at his post, no longer alone in his vigil, allowing himself the smallest of smiles.